Is today a Monday? Time of me recording this video? Yes, it is. Which is unfortunate because Mondays fucking suck. Mondays are terrible. Mondays are so shit, and what made it even shitter was watching the Garfield movie. And that's the video, the topic, the discussion topic of today's video, the film review, if you will. It is all about the Garfield movie. The new one, not the old one. It's not the live action CGI ones. It's not the Garfield gets real animated ones. It is the new 2024 Garfield movie, which is called the Garfield movie. And you can watch it in cinema. So you have to pay to go see this, and I would not recommend it. I would not recommend going to pay to go see this movie. It is not worth your time, it is not worth your money, and if you want to hear why I believe that and why I think that, you gotta stay to the end of the video. I'm not giving that away just yet, because before we get into that, we have to go into what Google has to say. So without any further delay, the Garfield movie. It is a family comedy which is an hour and 41 minutes, and it came out in 2024. It has a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. You can watch this on Google Play and also YouTube. But after unexpected reunion with his long-lost father, the street cat Vic, Garfield is forced to leave his very comfortable life with Harold behind. Together with Vic and Odie, he plans a crazy robbery. So that's a quick overview, but the actual story is basically he was a little baby cat. His dad John adopted him, and they had a decent life. They got a new house, and he lived well. He ate a lot, and he then gets kidnapped after sending John to sleep, and his dad came and saved him, and would you know it, they get sent to rob a dairy because Vic was an asshole in his past and fucked up some of his crewmates and got them all locked up in the pound. One of them escaped and basically wants revenge, so basically wants a load of milk. She needs some milk. So Vic, Garfield, and Odie go and try and get this milk from Lactose Farm, and they team up with a bull, a cow, Otis. Holy shit, that's a Barnyard reference. I only just fucking got that. Anyway, they do the heist. They basically, Garfield and Odie get caught, sent to the pound, and John picks them up. And Vic manages to escape with a load of milk and is going to be thrown off a train. Garfield and Odie then realize, oh, Vic doesn't hate us. Vic loves us. Vic loves us. He's our father. He actually cares for us. And he wanted to protect us. That's why he let us get captured, because he knew John would come and pick us up from the pound. So let's go save him. So Garfield orders like 6,000 drone deliveries to this train to basically fight with a skinny dog, a buff dog, and a cat to save his father. He manages to save his dad, and with the help of Otis and like Odie, they then fulfill their promise, getting Otis's girlfriend back, and that's where the movie ends, with a big party at Garfield's house for Garfield's birthday and his dad moving in with them. Honestly, the story is very basic. I'm allergic to shit. And that's what this movie is. This movie's shit. I wouldn't say it's good. I wouldn't recommend you watch it. I'm not your mum. I'm not your dad, parent, guardian, uncle, auntie, sister, brother, dog, cat, pet, whatever you want. I'm not that. I am just a random guy on the internet who's advising you not to waste your time in watching this movie, and also not to waste your money in buying it, because it is shit. Chris Pratt isn't as bad as everyone says. It is still a little bit awkward hearing him play Garfield, and it is very similar to how he plays Emmett from the Lego movie. I literally just got Emmett vibes the entire time watching this movie, which is the only good thing about this movie. It just reminded me of Emmett from the Lego movie. He had that upbeat, happy, forever happy attitude, which I feel like Garfield shouldn't have. Garfield should be more moody, sort of laid back, and angry at the world. He always has that sort of lazy, angry tone to his voice where he doesn't really want to do anything. But that doesn't lead to having a good main character. So obviously they went with the opposite approach and made him a lot more upbeat and a lot more happy and a lot more excitable, which isn't really true to his character. That's more of an Odie situation, and that's why he has this sort of love-hate relationship with Odie. Odie stole the fucking show as per usual. Odie is a fucking legend. I really enjoyed his character. He's my favorite in Garfield. He always has been, and he's the absolute goat, and I'm not accepting anything else. John was barely in it, and John was also very shit. All the comedy that they tried to do was very predictable, very basic, very really shit cat jokes and very shit dog jokes. It's the basic bare bones, bare minimum you could come up with, and it is very shit. It's very boring, and it's you know what? It was kind of expected going into this that it wouldn't have the best or the most dramatic comedy. It was going to be very bare bones and literally do the bare minimum that it had to make this a comedy. I didn't laugh at any of the jokes. I laughed at the fucking stupid animation. I laughed when the cat was like slammed up against a window. I laughed at the stupid poses that they were doing and the stupid animations that they had. Jokes, shit. Like the verbal jokes were shit. The physical jokes were a little more entertaining, a little more funny because obviously with animation, it's a lot easier to play around with, do a lot more creative things than you can with live action. So I'm glad that they explored that route and went into a couple more creative poses and a couple more creative jokes with animation and made it a little bit more creative and a little bit more wild and a little bit more dramatic and something that live action would not have been able to create. However, the animation style, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how to feel about it because on one hand, I think it's ugly, but after watching the movie, like with Chris Pratt's voice acting, you get used to it and it sort of just becomes the norm for the movie and it becomes more acceptable and you sort of grow to tolerate it, I'll put it as. Because again, it isn't my favorite animation style and I do still think it looks quite ugly. It looks very clean. It looks too clean. It looks too perfect. I would have liked it to have a little bit more of a rough edge to it because I don't know, it just looks too good. It looks too perfect and squeaky clean and animation is sort of moving away from that with sort of Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, Mutant Mayhem sort of leading the way, leading the revolution into more creative sort of animation styles. And I can see they sort of tried to copy that here, but failed. Like you can see remnants of how they tried to do that, but then again, like it is also very shit. The backgrounds aren't very exciting. The backgrounds are always quite basic and boring compared to the characters. Like, obviously, they're the center stage, but the backgrounds aren't that creative either. They're literally just science lab, house, field. There isn't anything other than that. I think the best location that they had was the mall, was the big supermarket that was run down. That was the best location that they had, but they reused shots. Like, they literally animated one bit and then reused it like 3 times during the movie. It was a good shot, I will admit, but using it 3 times was a bit of a push. 2 times, fair enough. I can't blame you. But 3 fucking times, the shot ain't that good. The shot ain't that good to use it 3 times. Nah. One too many, hip hal. I already know where this is being set. You don't need to show us the big outside grand entrance to the mall 3 fucking times in a row. Like, you know, had me at the first one. It was okay at the second one. Third one was too much. Voice acting. I spoke about Chris Pratt a little bit, but I did not expect to have a sort of A-list cast of actors here with Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, the man, the myth, the legend, playing Garfield's dad. That's a very weird dynamic. I haven't really seen Chris Pratt and Nick Fury in the same film before, sharing a scene. They had a pretty cool dynamic, but it wasn't that interesting. I will admit there wasn't that much chemistry between the characters, and Snoop Dogg was also here, played by a cat. I feel like Snoop Dogg would have been better as a dog, you know, Snoop Dogg would have been a little bit better and a little bit funnier. But he also made a song for the Garfield movie at the end. He sang a fucking song for the Garfield movie, not what I expected. Obviously, when you get a singer to voice act in a movie, you're going to make him sing as well, right? But I still wasn't expecting him to have a fucking musical number at the end. It just came out of the fucking blue. It came out of left field, something that caught me off guard a little bit. The villain was kind of boring, kind of basic, very stereotypical villain. Like, oh, revenge story this, revenge story that. Sidekicks turned on them. Kind of predictable. It kind of came out of left field as well. Like the motivation for the sidekicks of the villain, like the henchmen, changing sides was very shit. I feel like it was a really weak sort of thing to make them change their mind over just because the Garfield and his dad were happy to die. They were like, okay, right, nope. Because they're happy to die, we don't want to kill him. And it's like, what the fuck? Are you serious? That's the fucking moral of the story. You wanted to see them pain and suffer. That's a really fucking sadistic reason to change your mind on killing them. But that's what the reason that we got. And for whatever reason, they teamed up with the fucking prison guard from Madagascar in the milk dairy. I don't know why they did that. But also, humans have a voice translator for animals. So why can't they use that on Odie, and why can't Odie speak? And why is Garfield the only one that can understand Odie? Why can't we understand Odie? Like, I don't understand, with this technology that they have in the movie, why don't we know what Odie's saying? I know Odie's never been able to talk, but we have an animal translator. Garfield can understand Odie. Why don't we use that app more often? Garfield has a phone. Garfield has used a phone. Vic has used a phone. And they've used that app. So why don't they use it on Odie? Why doesn't he talk? Just a little bit of a plot hole that I poked out here. But again, it's a mediocre movie. I went into this thinking it was going to be shit. I was correct, but it wasn't as shit as I thought it was going to be. It's very mediocre, and I am going to give it a 4 out of 10. I'm never going to watch this movie again, but can I say I've watched it? Yes. Did I regret watching it? A little. It was a waste of like an hour and a half, but I did promise to watch it, so I am a man of my word, so I did watch it for you guys. And this is my opinion on it, so I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you all next one, and goodbye.